We lost StarCraft, brother.
Yep.
One of the OGs, actually, one of the pioneers in the StarCraft community,
And in the Twitch community, too.
In the Twitch community, he was basically there for the beginning of almost everything. He was a major part of every step of that way, right? Whether it was in the beginning of what we just described, or even in the beginning of the major esports North American teams, like with EG.
Mm-hmm. Huge part
being
of EG.
a massive deal, and really paving the way for, or it was like that whole Team Liquid, EG, those first teams that came up that were successful, kind of gave the template for how North American esports had to operate, because we weren't winning tournaments, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, he played a not insignificant part in the success of all of that. And on top of that, one of the nicest guys that we ever met in the industry.
Yep.
This industry is chock full of fuckboys and assholes and fake ass people.
Yep.
And if there's one person that I could think of off the top of my head that we met that was none of those things, it would be Jeff.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yep.
The dude was genuine and nice. He was a big teddy bear. He could probably pick up a small truck if you wanted to.
In fact, I think he probably did.
There's a good chance.
At least that weight of a small truck.
You run it away to the gym.
He was a power lifter for a long time.
Yeah,
so.
you run it away to the gym, and then you just have to challenge yourself with
truck.
Other larger objects.
Why not?
And the truck is a readily available thing.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I never forget the first time I met him. I shook his hand. And I felt like I obviously towered over him. He wasn't a super tall guy.
Yeah.
I felt like I was going to get broken in half just shaking the dude's hand. And I shook his hand. I pat him on the shoulder, and it was like fucking granite.
Yeah.
Like, you look at him, he's one of those guys. You look at him, and he looks soft.
Yeah. No, he's not soft.
Because he's just a naturally he's
big dude.
He's a big fucking dude. His forearms are bigger than my legs.
Yes.
He's just enormous. And so it was funny to me. It was just like the opposite of what you would have expected, and sure as shit, literal granite. But more importantly, of course, like we said, one of the nicest guys that we had the pleasure of meeting in the industry, for sure.
And it came at a big shock too. I was just streaming, and somebody came in and mentioned what happened to Jeff, and I didn't think he passed away. I know that he was dealing with some medical. He had some medical things, and he wasn't able to travel for a bit. But I was on the impression that it was on the mend and stuff. And then to hear that, so I thought maybe he was, back dealing with the problem. Or
well, I guess at the end of the day, it didn't have anything to do with that stuff.
I read that it was
not directly.
Yeah.
So a clot had moved into his lung at that point, and he was already predisposed, I guess, to it, because in 2013 he had one before in his leg.
Yep.
And had got extraordinarily lucky in that they actually noticed it, because he had pain, and normally they don't come with pain. You just bite the dust, and it's one of those things that, especially if you're getting it when you're younger, that's just like, it's a genetic mishap. It's like not a high % chance of happening. So
it was sad news, man, and like you said,
it fucked me up.
Jeff, he was like the you talked about EG and stuff. Like, he was the dude. He was the dude that brought North American teams to the forefront of entertainment, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because the vast majority of the North American teams, he was the face, not only of just EG,
just the ambassador.
but just the ambassador of North American gaming. Because he was a guy that had personality. Yeah. He was a guy that spoke his mind.
He was intelligent.
He was intelligent. And he was damn good at StarCraft.
Yes.
So that was like, the triple threat that made him who he was. He was extremely adaptable, from being a host to being a player to being an ambassador to being an influencer, all those things. And he did it very, very well. And he had longevity, and he would have continued to have longevity for years to come in esports. So it was a big hit. Not only to see somebody so young pass away, but also somebody that was so prominent in the StarCraft world, and just in the growth of Twitch in general.
Yes,
because he was one of the grandfathers that was the pioneer that was
original
here.
Guys,
he was the type of dude that when I was watching StarCraft, when we got into it in 2010,
we were watching him.
Like, he was already in it from the Brood War, from the Warcraft 3 scene. he was one of the dudes that you talked about. Him and Idra. Day 9, the guys. The Artosis, Tasteless. They were here before we were here.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was a shock. It's sad. It almost still doesn't. And we lose Total Biscuit, and then we lose iNcontroL in the span of like what, a 2 year, 1 or 2, was it 1 year? 1 year, and I think they were both like 33. I don't know if they were both 33.
I can't remember how old John was off the top of my head, but he wasn't old.
Yeah, just young.
John, obviously John had a lot more going against him here,
yes.
and then Jeff just had a really and truly tragically freak occurrence.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
Really is just a it makes it better. But it also makes it worse, knowing that was the case. It was rough.
Well, it was
either
like
way.
with Total Biscuit, it still hurt to hear the news. But
I was mourning John's death for about 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I thought we were going to lose him about 2 years previous to that.
Yeah.
And then he was God. He did more work than I'll do my entire life while fighting
cancer.
Incredibly aggressive cancer.
Yeah.
And so I was like mourning him for a while, as you tend to do with cancer patients that are like terminal, or who are people who are considered terminal. You tend to mourn ahead of the actual time in which they pass.
Yeah,
which is a habit you don't want to get into, but it's something that just naturally fucking happens, right?
You prepare, you're prepared mentally for the potential.
For when
it doesn't make it really any easier, but at least you're prepared for something like this. It was a complete shock.
It just came out. It was the night the power went out.
Yeah,
and my power was still. Yours had come back on. Mine was still out at the time, and I was just on my couch. Chilling, bored out of my mind, so I was on Twitter and I was just refreshing Twitter, and I refreshed it like as that message got posted. And when I first read it, my first thought was, this is a bad joke. His account got hacked. Because he had streamed like the night before. I had just commented on one of his posts, joking about like him ending up back in the hospital and like his freak, whatever, and all this stuff goes on. I cracked a joke about me like absolutely fucking destroying my left testicle and like the shenanigans that happened in the hospital. It was like I was just joking with him the other day, and he's streaming yesterday, and now this is what I was like, that's fucking weird. And then I read like the follow-up tweets, and I went, oh, fuck, that actually happened. And that fucked me up. I drank more in that night than I have in a very long time. I went live, and I crushed half a bottle of rum and talked with the community and just went brain dead. Because I didn't know how to process the shit. It was so quick.
It was one of those things, and it still is, where it's like the same night, you just it sounds cliche and weird, but or not, I guess not weird, but it's as cheesy as it sounds. It makes you appreciate what you have. And
it makes you feel. It made me feel mortal.
Yeah, seriously, and it made me think about my health, my life, my family.
You're not sitting on your knees right now.
No, I'm not. And it was just like, it just puts things in perspective that you're not. You're not immortal. No, and you just never know, right?
Yeah.
So you got to appreciate what you have when you have it, and that's just it. So rest in peace, big guy. That's I feel for all the fans, the family, the friends.
I mean, you see the outpouring that's still happening now.
It's still happening.
He was obviously an extraordinarily respected individual.
Huge.
Nobody has anything bad to say about him. Thank fuck. It wasn't like when John passed and all of a sudden all these idiots came out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
It's been nothing but love for Jeff, and thank God that's the case. And so, we obviously wish his family and friends and loved ones all the best. And the community, has done a great job. I have a sneaking suspicion there's going to be some sort of tournament or something in his honor.
I hope so. I'll support it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I think so. I'm going to assume that maybe the boys, maybe Day 9 or Tasteless, and them will get involved in it. Possibly.
Yeah, when they're ready. Yeah.
Or even the other guys, the usuals, Nate and the boys. Somebody's probably thinking about it. They've probably already talked about it.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, I'd be there for it. I'll be there for
100%.
it for sure.